她是公司里说一不二的女高管，职员见了都要躲着走的存在，而她只是一名唯唯诺诺的男助理，整日低三下四的服务在女高管左右。一场变故的发生，竟让女高管当众向男助理下跪求婚。
Will you marry me?
No. Say it like you mean it.
Would you please, cherries on top, marry me?
男助理的答复仍是拒绝，哪怕知道他这是在戏耍自己，女高管也不敢生出半分不愿。然而就在今天清晨，安妮还是那个高高在上、目空一切的职场女强人，只因为杰克为她买的咖啡口味不对，她就拒绝了杰克要请假回家过奶奶90岁大寿的请求。又因为副总监搞婚外情，她就以品行不端为由将其辞退。强势霸道是所有职员给她定义的标签，这种事放在之前常有发生，老板也会念在她的工作能力上睁只眼闭只眼，但这次却出现了意外。平日里对自己笑脸相迎的老板竟满面愁容。安妮的签证出现了问题，申请被驳回了，只因为在提交时遗漏了一些文件。
We can reapply, but unfortunately, you have to leave the country for at least a year.
正值事业的上升期，他怎么可能同意这个提议？也在这时，杰克正好有工作上面的事来汇报，安妮内心瞬间就有了主意。
And there's well, I think there's something that you should know. We're getting married. We are getting married.
Who is getting married?
You and I are getting married. Yes.
We are.
Getting married.
丝毫不给他反应过来的时间，安妮就拉着他来了办公室。面对下属的疑惑，他不紧不慢地解释了自己想要通过结婚延续签证的计划。长久以来的压迫使得杰克早就忘记了反抗，但如今可是涉及到了自己的终身大事，他无法再忤逆内心。
I'm not gonna marry you.
Sure you are. Because if you don't marry me, your dreams of touching the lives of millions with the written word are dead. That means all the time that we spent together, all the lattes, all the canceled dates, all the midnight Tampax runs were all for nothing, and all your dreams of being an editor are gone. But don't worry, after the required allotment of time, we'll get a quickie divorce and be done with me.
面对这赤裸裸的威胁，身为堂堂七尺男儿的他最终选择了妥协。这件事儿很快传播到了所有同事耳中，他们开始对杰克的行为评头论足。起初安妮并不在意，可直到他们来到移民署内，负责办理签证的工作人员一眼看出两人之间的蹊跷。据他所说，是有他们公司的员工打了举报电话，声称安妮是因为想要保住职务才会和杰克假结婚，这种行为在当地是不被允许的。如若发现属实，安妮不但会被永远驱逐出境，杰克还会面临高达25万美金的罚款和5年的牢狱之灾。听闻这些，他整个人都不好了。
You wanna talk to me? No? Yes?
一番权衡之后，他还是不想让自己3年的努力化为泡影。
Margaret and I are just two people who weren't supposed to fall in love, but did.
装出一副痛心的样子说道，因为公司不被允许办公室恋情，所以他们才一直没有公开。同事之所以举报，也是因为安妮平日里太过跋扈高傲，那纯属是报复行为。男人半信半疑地问了几个关于对方的问题，毕竟在一起相处了3年之久，他们都对答如流。事情到了这里还远远没有就此结束，2周内他们还会再进行一次调查和面谈。那时两人将分到不同的房间去写一份关于夫妻之间事情的答卷，并且还会问询他们的亲戚朋友和通话短信来往。刚刚走出移民署大门，杰克就开始有些懊悔，这3年来的助理生活让他成为了这个世界上最了解安妮的人。但也正是因为太过了解她，所以他比谁都清楚安妮面对自己的事情根本就不会上心，自始至终一直在与客户发送短信就是最好的证明。他想让这位上司认真些面对接下来的调查，毕竟那涉及到了2人的前途。可他的注意力仍在手机上，一怒之下杰克转身离去。
Andrew, fine.
为了保住自己的工作，他放低了姿态，保证接下来一切听从杰克的安排。为了验证，杰克让他当众下跪向自己求婚。
What does that mean?
You heard me. On your knee.
安妮尴尬照做的样子，不由得让受尽压迫的她心中暗爽。为了防止移民署调查亲朋好友时露出破绽，加上奶奶即将到来的90大寿，杰克决定带她回家。路上不忘告知对方各自的家庭情况，拿出提前搜集整理好的移民署可能会问的问题。
You know all the answers to these questions about me.
Scary, isn't it?
A little bit. What am I allergic to?
Pine nuts and the full spectrum of human emotion.
Oh, that's so funny.
明知道这是嘲讽，换作以往他早就已经生怒呵斥，可如今碍于自己的未来已经和他绑定，安妮也只好按耐住暴躁的性子。
Oh, here's one. Whose place do we stay at? Yours or mine? That's easy. Mine.
And why wouldn't we stay at mine?
Because I live at Central Park West. And you probably live at some squalid little studio apartment with stacks of yellow penguin glasses.
好不容易找到一个可以泄愤的机会，他紧抓着这点不放。 一个在自己手下做事的人，家境又会好到哪里？优越感爆棚的安妮怎么也不会想到，她引以为傲的优质生活在杰克看来根本不值一提。只要他愿意，分分钟可以继承数百亿市值的公司。飞机很快抵达了目的地，杰克奶奶就在围栏外接机。过惯了职场生活，并且从小就是孤儿的她，很不习惯他们的热情。乘坐汽车穿过一段漫长的山路，众人很快抵达了小镇。放眼看去，这里所有的店铺名字竟然都是以杰克姓氏为开头。
Please don't do that. Didn't tell me about all the family businesses, honey.
He was probably just being modest, dear.
然而这只是冰山一角，更让安妮震惊的还在后面。陆路过后，几人又上了一艘小船。他此刻脑中有无数的疑惑与不解，他们这是要做什么？真的是回家吗？直到一座雄伟壮阔的建筑出现在他的视野，这整座岛屿都是杰克家族的财产。
Why did you tell me you were poor?
I never said I was poor.
But you never told me you were rich.
I'm not rich. My parents are rich.
Okay, you know what? That's the only rich people say.
不等他解释，迎面就走来几人，他们都是杰克的亲戚。原来，在得知孙子要带未婚妻回家后，奶奶就邀请了50位家族成员来庆祝。
Party?
Yeah, I guess so. Come on, let's go. My grandma's moving fast soon.
Why didn't you tell me you were some kind of Alaskan Kennedy?
How could I? We were in the middle of talking about you for the last 3 years.
两人一路斗嘴，安妮发觉这样下去不是办法，他们必须表现得恩爱些，不然等移民署的人来调查时肯定会穿帮。杰克也觉得在理，于是当着所有人的面宣布了自己和安妮订婚的消息。或许是为了证明，又或者只是单纯的想要占些便宜，他竟不顾安妮反抗吻上了她。分开后，两人都对刚才的感觉有些诧异，因为跟家里时有联系，父亲很清楚杰克对这位女上司的成见。
What the hell, Andrew? You show up here after all this time with this woman you hated, and now she's your
We
girlfriend?
just got here. Can we wait 2 seconds before we throw the kitchen sink at each other?
Just never figured you for a guy who slept his way to the middle. She's your meal ticket, and you brought her home to meet your mother.
No. She's not my meal ticket, Dad. She's my fiancée.
仅仅几句话就可以听出，他们父子的关系并不怎么和谐。杰克更加不会告诉他真相。很快来到了安妮最担心的环节，看到里面只有一张精致的小床，他先是一番赞美之词，而后迟疑地问母亲和奶奶：“杰克晚上住在哪里？”
Sweetie, we're not under any illusions that you two don't sleep in the same bed, so he'll sleep in here with you.
安妮不但不能拒绝，她还要感谢2位长辈的开明。尽管很想看到这位高高在上的女上司出手吃瘪，但该有的绅士风度还是要有的。她自觉在地上铺了毯子。由于经历了一天的赶路，两人都早早歇下，仿佛是不适应睡觉时有阳光照射进来。她在床上翻来覆去，迟迟没有入睡。
Looks like I won't be getting much sleep with the sun streaming in. Thank you.
一夜无话，安妮清晨被客户的一个电话吵醒。由于屋内没有信号，她匆忙穿上衣服来了外面。而紧跟其后的是奶奶养的一条小狗，她不停对着安妮狂吠，动静引起了不远处一只老鹰的注意。令人瞠目结舌的一幕出现了，只见老鹰抓起小狗就上了高空，它奋力将手机投掷出去，成功转移了注意力。小狗是被救下了，可安妮的手机却是遭了殃。
No. Take the doggy. Look at the doggy. I need that phone. Take the dog.
这一幕被奶奶和母亲看在眼中，顿时就给她打上了热爱小动物的标签。
Hey guys, you seem
She's playing with Kevin. We thought she didn't like it.
杰克也没有想到，自己的上司竟还有这么可爱的一面。说了整件事的前因后果，老鹰抓狗这么骇人听闻的事情，显然很难让人去相信。
You drunk?
What? No, I'm serious. He's got my phone and Frank's calling me on that phone.
答应明天自己会去镇上为他买个新的手机，安妮这才作罢。知道此时他们正在被奶奶和母亲盯着看，不顾他的反抗和诧异，杰克再次占了便宜。一晚上的反思，父亲对昨天自己的言行做了道歉，他希望杰克能够原谅他，并辞去美国的工作回来继承家族产业。
And when are you gonna start taking what I do seriously?
原来杰克之所以放着市值几百亿的公司不去继承，就是想要证明父亲的决定和想法不一定全部都是对的。前半生的他生活在父亲的掌控之下，如今有了脱离的机会，他想通过除继承财产以外的其他方法来获得别人的认可。这种举动在父亲看来完全就是多此一举，浪费了时间不说，就连他是否能在外面出人头地还是个未知数。两人就此事争执了整整3年，一直没能分出对错，这次当然也不例外。中午外出购物回来的3人看到杰克在凿着什么东西，母亲愤怒地找到丈夫，身为人母，她最清楚儿子的心思。
Why is Andrew out there hollowing out that old stupid canoe again?
知道接下来的话涉及家事，安妮懂事的告别离去。不过对杰克的好奇还是让他很快顿住了脚步。
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I just had a frank conversation with him about his future.
He is my son. I only get to see him every 3 years because of you. You are going to fix this show. I mean it. Fix it now.
因为是戴着耳机返回的杰克全然没有注意到浴室里有人，一个坦诚相见的乌龙事件也就此上演。
Oh my God! Why are you wet?
Don't look at me.
因为在同一个屋檐下生活，这种必要的小插曲还是不可避免的发生了。直到晚上，两人都还在为白天的误会耿耿于怀。想起自己今天听到的杰克父母的谈话，他没能忍住好奇询问
So, what's the deal with you and your father?
Oh, I'm sorry. That question is not in the binder.
Oh, really? Well, I thought you were the one that said we needed to learn all this.
Not about that, I didn't.
But I think I asked.
Not about that, Margaret. Good night.
静谧持续了许久，还是安妮率先打破沉默，说起自己的一段感情经历。她被前任甩掉后的那一晚，哭干了所有眼泪。她并不是没有感情的职场机器，而是担心再次遇人不淑。投身工作会让她忘却外界的一切，这里面就包括了爱情与亲情。不喜欢花朵，因为那会让她想起在她6岁时父母的丧礼。从小就不喜欢打电动，因为她的位置总会被男孩子抢，自己如果抢回来就会被对方的父母教训。杰克就这样在旁听着，时不时开个玩笑，用以转移她悲伤的情绪。这一晚上的交心畅谈，使得彼此心与心的距离愈发靠近。安妮定了闹钟，醒在杰克之前，整理了乱糟糟的头发和面部仪容，只为杰克醒来后看到的是一个漂亮的自己。至于安妮为什么会忽然在意起他的眼光和看法，她自己也说不清楚。或许是因为昨晚的交谈让她动了芳心，又或者只是在单纯的维护自己高冷女强人的形象，没有得到杰克醒来后的赞美。门外就响起敲门声。呼叫失败后，他用了暴力唤醒法，得知母亲在外面，杰克匆忙收拾了自己的地铺，来到床上，摆出一副与安妮很是恩爱的样子。
Oh my God! I'm sorry. It's morning. What do you mean it's morning?
Are you okay?
两人摆好姿势，喊了外面的人进来。父亲在被母亲一番训斥后，决定低下头来，不再要求杰克留在岛上，让不到你们两个在岛上结婚生子，未来他就可以让孙子继承家产。而结婚的时间就定在明天奶奶的寿宴上。杰克和安妮都想要拒绝，毕竟结婚恩爱都可以假装，生孩子哪里还能是假的？刚想要开口，就听90岁的奶奶说道
You'll do it before I'm dead.
Okay, fine.
得到答复后，奶奶和父母就去准备婚礼前的工作了，这让还在床上的两人苦恼不已，想了各种各样在之后离婚的理由。很快杰克发觉哪里怪怪的，安妮也停下了手中安慰的动作。为了遵循他们家族的传统，安妮被奶奶拉来了大山里跳舞，知道逃避不了，她只好生涩地跟着奶奶扭动四肢，伴随着动作愈发熟练，安妮竟无师自通地创作了几个奶奶从未见过的新舞姿。两人开心地互动了许久，直到杰克出现才将这欢快的氛围打断。
Oh, your Gammy wanted me to, chant from the heart.
Your phone arrived. I'm gonna go to town and pick it up. You wanna come?
Oh, yes, I want to go. Oh, hold on. Is it okay if I go with him?
Whatever you do is what shall be.
But you're okay if I go? Bye, Gammy.
安妮哪里会知道，杰克家族压根儿就没有这个传统，这些都是他自己瞎编的，目的就是想要安妮爱上这里的生活，爱上自己的这位孙子。下午，杰克带着安妮取了手机，到网吧打了电动，被随后赶来的母亲和奶奶接走，挑选了结婚时要用的饰品。他们为安妮穿上了靓丽的礼服。
Yeah, I was thinking if you like, maybe we could head down your way for the holidays this year.
Oh, that would be nice. That'd be nice. Or maybe we could come to you too.
这句话让这对假婆媳两人都很触动，一个想起了自己那个一定会离开岛屿生活的儿子，一个想起了早早离世的父母。情感就是如此，一句不经意间的话就可以带给人莫大的情绪变化。奶奶拿出珍藏了数十年的项链，戴到安妮脖子上的同时，口中还在念叨着关心的话语。记事起就从未拥有过真正家庭的她，在这一刻终于绷不住了，泪水不受控制的在眼睛里打转。她有想过告诉奶奶事实，但又怕她接受不了真相。与两人分开后，她找到了杰克，抢来了他的驾驶权，然后以最快的速度将船只启动。几天的相处，安妮在杰克家里感受到了有亲人呵护关心的感觉。她很害怕梦醒了失去这一切，而这个梦因为两人的假结婚也注定了会醒。她很自责，明明妈妈和奶奶对自己这么好，而自己却是在欺骗他们。感受到安妮激动的情绪，杰克要来了驾驶位，口中还不断重复着让安妮冷静的话语。
Hold on. Whoa. I don't think that hijacking a boat is a proper way to express your frustration. Now, oh great. Now you decide to shut up, Margaret?
扭过头才发现安妮已经不知何时掉入了海中。杰克立刻跑去救援，冰冷的海水终于让他镇定下来。
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, come here. You gotta get warm. Come on. Come on. It's okay.
两人返回家中，决定共同商议如何在不伤害杰克亲人的情况下坦白真相。可他们却忘记了移民署的存在。
Your mother is never to hear about any of this.
移民署的工作人员找来了这里，通过调查和问询，还有翻阅两人之间的通话来往记录，他们现在已经可以断定，安妮与杰克在一起完全就是因为续签签证的事情。父亲已经签下了坦白协议，只要杰克承认这件事情属实，那么他就还有机会免于5年牢狱之灾的处罚。
Or you're going to go to prison. You tell the truth, you're off the hook. And she is going to go back to Canada.
承认一切就当作没发生过，不承认面临巨额罚款与5年的牢狱之灾，孰轻孰重自然不必多说。可所有人都低估了杰克的决心。
6 months ago, we started dating. We fell in love. I asked her to marry me. She said yes. I'll see you at the wedding.
短暂的几日相处，杰克认识到了一个不一样的女上司。她会哭，会笑，会跳，会闹。那副坚毅的外表之下，到底都隐藏了什么？杰克内心总有想要去挖掘的冲动，而好奇从来都是喜欢的前兆。安妮对杰克亦是如此。第二天的婚礼上，安妮在奶奶的搀扶下来到杰克身边。随着证婚人开始念诵祝词，她的内心也陷入煎熬之中。安妮昨晚思考了杰克此时的处境，他本不应该被自己连累，不应该稀里糊涂的和一个他不爱的人成婚。缓缓转过身。
Thank you all so much for coming out. I have a bit of an announcement to make about the wedding. I am a Canadian. Yes, Canadian. With an expired visa who was about to be deported. And because I didn't want to leave this wonderful country of yours, I forced Andrew here to marry me.
Margaret, stop it.
不顾杰克的劝阻，他把整件事的来龙去脉讲了出来，并在最后表扬了杰克这3年来在工作上的表现，将所有的过错推到了自己身上。
You have a beautiful family. Don't let this come between you. This was my fault.
在众人诧异、不解、震惊等等目光中，安妮走出了婚礼殿堂。杰克没有着急去追，他了解安妮，既然她已经做出了这样的决定，那谁也没有办法去改变。简单安抚了母亲与奶奶，他返回两人房间查看，发现安妮已经脱去礼服离去，一旁还放着一封信件。原来安妮早就认可了杰克的工作能力，迟迟不给他升职也只是担心再也找不到像他这样的助理。信中安妮对耽误了杰克的发展表达了歉意，并保证自己在离职前一定会帮助他取得他应有的成就。这种被人认可的感觉深深触动了他。
Have an amazing life. You deserve it, Margaret.
为了不留下遗憾，杰克跑来了外面，他准备去告诉安妮自己内心最真实的感受。
Andrew, what's
I gotta
happening?
talk to her.
Why would you do that?
This has nothing to do with you.
So wait a minute. I'm not going to let you do this. I mean it.
I'm not asking your permission.
眼看着父子两人争执不休，奶奶眼睛一翻，直接晕了过去。很快，岛屿旁边出现了要赶往镇上医院的直升机。只是飞机刚刚起飞，奶奶就醒了过来。她一副大限将至的样子，对儿子说道：“不要再和杰克吵架了，你们本是父子，有什么事情是过不去的。以后你不要干涉他的生活了。”父亲眼含泪水的点头答应。奶奶见状，调皮的摘去面罩，表示自己听到他们父子和好这个好消息后心情大好，并也跟着好了。
No need to take us to the hospital. Take us to the airport, please.
原来这只是他为了孙子追求爱情演的一场戏。尽管他们已经用最快的速度抵达了机场，但还是没能赶上安妮乘坐的飞机。
What's wrong?
Margaret's on that plane.
And he didn't get to tell her
Tell her what?
That he loves her.
so she could tell him that she loves him too.
Yeah, but how does he...
If she didn't love him, she wouldn't have let her. Of course.
Am I the only one that...
听完妻子与母亲的解释后，
I'm sorry, son. I didn't know how you felt about her.
自始至终他都没有想要阻止儿子爱人的权利，只是对于感情有些迟钝罢了。为了弥补过错，维护他们之间的关系，父亲动用超能力找来了一架飞机，赶在安妮收拾东西离开前，帮助杰克来到了他的身边。
Andrew, why are you panting?
Because I've been running.
Really, from Alaska?
I need to talk to you.
Yeah, well, I don't have time to talk. I need to catch a 5:45 to Toronto.
Margaret.
So I need the boxes to go out today. I want to make sure everything is...
Margaret, stop talking!
这番举动让安妮身躯一震，她看向看热闹的员工，所有人都埋下头去继续工作。
3 days ago, I loathed you. I used to dream about you getting hit by a cab or poisoned.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I told you to stop talking. Then we had our little adventure up in Alaska, and things started to change. Things changed when we kissed. Even when you checked me out when we were naked.
Naked. Well, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, you did. But I didn't realize any of this until I was standing alone, wifeless. Now, you can imagine my disappointment when it suddenly dawned on me that the woman I love is about to be kicked out of the country. So, Margaret, marry me.
互相凝视许久，所有女同事都投来八卦的眼神，安妮泪水不停在眼眶里打转。
Trust me. You don't really want to be with me.
Yes, I do.
See, the thing is, there's a reason why I've been alone all this time. I'm comfortable that way. And I think it would just be a lot easier if we forgot everything that happened and I just left.
You're right. That would be easier.
I'm scared.
Me too.
虽然杰克嘴上选择了简单一点的方法，但却用行动告诉了安妮自己最后的决定。拥吻许久后分开。
Are you supposed to get down on your knee or something?
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
真正的相爱结婚后，安妮自然不会再受到移民署遣送回国的处罚。荒谬的交易中是达成了一段诚挚的爱情。电影至此结束。